Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Julie and today you are joining me on another indoor plant video. Indoor plants is really one of my favorite topics to discuss because I remember what it was like as a beginner. I felt really nervous, really hesitant. I didn't want to bring a bunch of houseplants into the home just because I loved the look, but didn't know how to take care of it. At the beginning, eventually one would die, two would die, and that kind of scared me. But I feel like there is an indoor plant for everyone, virtually every condition. If you're looking for indoor plants that are low maintenance and require little sunlight, this video is for you. There are plenty of indoor plants out there that are low maintenance, forgiving, and low light tolerant. A few actually do require a little bit more care, but it's nothing too crazy for the novice plant lover. Some actually do better in low light corners and shadier spaces. Low light houseplants actually do well in an east or west facing room that has a window even if they get no direct sunlight. But a room with no windows or a north facing window sometimes makes it hard on even the most shade tolerant plants. So in this case, you can help your plants grow and thrive by leaving on artificial lights for a few hours each day. While some of these plants on my list are super popular, trusty houseplants that you might have seen in and around Pinterest, I mean, some of these have been Instagrammed to death, and really for good reason. But there are a ton of other beautiful indoor plants on this list that you might not have come across. From my favorite trailing vines to larger potted trees, this video will help guide you on what to pick and how to style it in your home. Let's start with everyone's favorite trailing plant, the golden pothos. Golden pothos or pothos are known to be one of the easiest plants to care for. They trail super long and can't be propagated in water. Soil needs to be dried out before watering, typically every 1 or 2 weeks, of course depending on how much you water. The pothos can thrive in any light setting besides direct light. You can place it in a super dark room or a dark corner with near complete lack of water and it will still thrive. It's one of the most popular indoor plants because it's durable, it's easy to grow vines, it's attractive, and it has smooth, leathery, heart-shaped leaves that always look verdant and green. Since these vines can grow super long, you want to regularly loosen the vines and prevent them from becoming completely tangled. Keep pets away from this plant as it is toxic. The silver pothos or satin pothos is similar to the golden pothos except that its matte green leaves have a little bit of silver in them. These plants thrive in indoor conditions and bright indirect light is ideal for a greener leaf color, but the plant actually does survive in dimmer locations. Remember that pothos loves humidity, so if you can mist your plants and keep the area humid and warm, that's ideal. The Philodendron is similar to pothos and they're equally as simple to care for. They can acclimate to different locations well. I've moved my Philodendron from a window with indirect light to a smaller bathroom with no light at all and artificial light only, and it's doing just as well. I love that the long vines contribute to the jungalow look I love and crave. These plants can tolerate low light settings, but low light also contributes to the spacing in between the leaves. Remember that most trailing vines are toxic to pets and of course young kids. So the thing that I love about them is you can hang them up high and kind of keep them out of the way. Since they grow long and really leggy, you often need to pinch it. Pinching can be done with either a fingernail or a sharp pair of scissors, and pinching just prevents them from growing into long single stems. Another trailing vine that I love is English ivy. I actually have English ivy all over my ground cover outdoors in my courtyard, but it can be a low light indoor plant as well. Hang the ivy high in baskets. It looks beautiful in a kitchen and equally as stunning in a bathroom. Place your English ivy somewhere that gets indirect light. This plant loves humidity as well, so you can mist your plant regularly. Moving on to smaller indoor houseplants that are great potted and can be placed on a table or a shelf. The Maranta, or prayer plant, is very unique. At night, the leaves fold up and it looks like little prayer hands, and they open up in the morning. This prayer plant is actually a little particular, but once you put it in a comfortable location in your home, they will thrive. The prayer plant is a small, low-growing tropical plant, and it has tricolored leaves. You'll see a light green in the middle, and it spreads out to darker green and medium green leaves. It grows well indoors, but you have to provide it with warmth and humidity. These plants are great in low light conditions since direct sunlight burns their foliage. A window that gets bright indirect light is ideal, but you can also place them in a darker corner or a bookshelf. Another one of my favorites, the Calathea, or more commonly known as a peacock plant. The leaves are colorful and high contrast, and I love how the pattern adds a pop no matter where you place it. It grows well in medium to low light and requires consistent moisture to keep it thriving. This is another plant that is also non-toxic and pet safe. The nerve plant, or Phytonia, actually prefers brighter light, but they can handle low light quite well. Much like the prayer plant, the more colorful varieties look a little less bright with less sun, but they can still grow and thrive in the shade. I love the Syngonium because their leaves spread out in all directions. These are great low light plants, but the leaves are toxic, so keep your pets away from them. Cast iron plants are virtually indestructible. You can really neglect it without light or water and they will still grow and thrive. But ideally, you should water them when the topsoil is dry. Keep them away from direct sunlight, which can burn their leaves. A north-facing window is ideal, but you can also place them on a table or console towards the middle of the room. The wax plant to me is almost like a cast iron plant. It's almost indestructible because of its strong leaves. It thrives in bright light, but it does well in lower light conditions as well. They're super low maintenance, and much like the cast iron plant, both these plants are super resilient and will bounce back if you forget to water them. The Peperomia obtusifolia. I'm probably butchering the name, but this is another super cute plant with little thick leaves. This plant is actually pet friendly and is low light tolerant. Again, too much intense sunlight can hurt this variety, so keep it away from the window and away from direct sunlight. The spider plant is another one of my absolute favorites because it is so low maintenance. I've had the same spider plant ever since I moved into this home, which is almost 7 years ago. And this spider plant has propagated so many little babies. The spider plant is so cute. I recommend the spider plant for beginners. They require well-drained soil because they're susceptible to root rot. So definitely drain out your pots if you're prone to overwatering. Spider plants can be grown as hanging or trailing plants in baskets or pots. I actually hang them up high in my little corner, but the little baby spider plants, the spiderets, I keep on the counter in my bathroom and bookshelves. They will survive in low light conditions, including artificial light. You'll know when it's time to water the plants when the leaves start looking a little pale. The lucky bamboo plant is also a really easy plant to grow and love. It's said to bring good luck and good fortune, especially when it's given as a gift, which means it has excellent feng shui properties. This plant is so easy for beginners because it can grow in just a simple vase of water. Although the bamboo plant craves light, it can fully thrive in shady areas. It's a perfect plant to keep on your desk or even a coffee table. The Chinese evergreen is also one of my absolute favorite plants. I love its large, green, lush leaves and the fact that it can thrive in so many different conditions. You can clean the leaves off by wiping it down with a wet cloth to keep it looking healthy and well. The Chinese evergreen is one of the most durable houseplants you can own. It can tolerate low light, dry air, no watering. The evergreens love the shade, so they make excellent low light indoor plants. Keep pets away from this plant as it is toxic. I love the fullness of the Chinese evergreen. It's perfect for an empty corner or simply potted on the floor. If you're looking to add a little bit more brightness into the space, try these colored indoor plants. Peace lilies are also another super easy plant to care for. I used to water peace lilies on a schedule, and then I realized that I was overwatering them. Check the soil to see if the top layer is dry before watering. This is one of those plants that will tell you what it needs. Once you start to see drooping or wilting leaves, it's time to water the plant. The white lilies blooms several times a year, but even without the lilies, the plant is just beautiful on its own. Peace lilies are popular because they're low-light indoor plants and they can take a lot of neglect. Place these plants somewhere that gets indirect light. Just remember that they won't flower as much without a ton of sun. Keep the peace lily away from pets as they are toxic. The anthurium can tolerate low light, but it will flower and grow slower. Anthuriums are a tropical plant with bright red flowers and super lush foliage. These plants can be grown outdoors as well as indoors, and they love high humidity, so definitely keep the soil consistently moist but not soggy or overwatered. Direct sun can burn the leaves, so keep it in a spot that gets indirect light. Also keep these plants away from pets because they are toxic. The Christmas cactus is one of the few cacti that's actually appropriate for feng shui. The leaves are soft and rounded instead of pointy and spiky. The most beautiful part about it is that it blooms pink flowers for that added pop of color. They grow well with diffused low light, so you don't have to keep them near the windows. Here's another tropical plant that made my list, the bromeliad. If you've seen them in the indoor garden section of your hardware store, that is precisely why. They grow great under fluorescent lights. They thrive in humid conditions, making them perfect for bathrooms. Moving on to ferns. I love the look of ferns. I love how the leaves are really large and lush and almost very dainty, but I have to admit, I can't keep a fern alive. Understanding who you are as a plant parent and how much maintenance and durability you require from the plant has everything to do with how successful you will be. The maidenhair fern was probably one of my very first purchases. I love that it has little delicate fan-shaped leaves that cluster on darker stems. It's a great low-light indoor plant to add freshness to your space. But all ferns do need consistently moist, but not soggy, soil to thrive. They like warm, humid environments and indirect sunlight. So these are great for bathrooms as well as kitchens. The bird's nest fern has leaves with little rippled edges. This fern thrives in indirect light, and I've actually placed it on an interior bookshelf, and it's done really well. The Kimberly queen fern is a larger fern that thrives in a variety of conditions, from low light to bright indirect light. This Kimberly queen fern is a lot smaller than some of the other larger ferns, so they make great tabletop accessories. The staghorn fern is an epiphytic plant, meaning they can grow on other plants and trees within their environment. I have a potted plant that was gifted to me last year on my birthday from some of my girlfriends, and the staghorn fern is one of the few surviving plants that I have left in this pot. They're super low maintenance. The fern thrives in high humidity environments with indirect light. They look great in the bathroom and perfect hung high in the shower. And lastly, we have larger indoor plants. These plants could be potted, smaller on a tabletop, but with a little TLC, they can actually grow into huge plants that could be potted and simply placed on the ground. The snake plant you know and love. It's one of the most popular plants because it's super low maintenance. These plants thrive in low to moderate light, and they can even be neglected for weeks on end and still look amazing. Most people love snake plants for its simple architectural shape. They can survive low light levels, drought, and little water. Water sparingly or the roots will rot. During the wintertime, you can go for an entire season with just 1 or 2 watering sessions. This plant is toxic to pets, so keep your dogs and cats away from them. The ZZ plant, or what the industry refers to the easy plant, is really great for beginners. The thick, waxy green leaves always looks verdant and fresh. This plant can handle low light. It doesn't require a lot of water. They acclimate to their environment. You can move them around until you find the perfect fit. They don't grow fast, so you don't have to repot them as often as your other plants. I've had the same ZZ plant in the same pot ever since I moved in the home, which was almost 7 years ago, and it is still doing really well. They're perfect for low light areas, including windowless spaces or offices. The ZZ plant is toxic, so keep them away from your pets. The Dracania limelight has full, bright, and wide neon leaves. This is another indoor plant that is super low maintenance. Studies show that this indoor plant helps remove pollutants from your air. The money tree is also another plant that is popular for feng shui. If you want a large indoor plant that can handle medium or indirect light, the money tree is a beautiful option. The unique qualities from the braided tree trunk really sets it apart from your other indoor houseplants. The money tree is perfect for the southeast corner of your home or room, where it's all about attracting wealth and abundance. The Dieffenbachia is also one of my favorite indoor plants. This plant can start small but can grow up to a height of 5 feet. It's known for its beautiful leaf patterns, where the outer edges are high contrast and the inner edges are a neon green. Filtered light is best for this plant. You can place this plant next to your window with a barrier in between like a curtain, or you can pull it away from the windows with low light and it will still thrive. Growing season is in between spring and summer, so you'll get more green verdant leaves during this season. The Drauf Umbrella plant is also a great low light plant choice. This plant grows super slow and it does not like direct light. This is the perfect plant for a hallway or an empty corner. If you're looking for a low light indoor plant that could be a little bit larger, try the ponytail palm. This plant comes in smaller varieties, perfect for a tabletop, but could also blossom into a full-blown tree. No matter which you choose, the ponytail palm is adaptable enough to survive in just about any light levels. Finally, ending the video with the Monstera. The Monstera is one of those indoor plants that I absolutely love the look of. The Monstera hates direct sunlight, so indirect sunlight or even low light conditions are best. Since it is a tropical plant, it loves humidity, so it's best to purchase a humidifier if you want to keep these Monsteras thriving. They can grow in bright indirect sunlight, but they can tolerate low light just as well. In this case, they might not grow as fast or dramatically as they would in a brighter space. Remember that these plants are toxic to pets, so keep them away from your cats and dogs. Whew, that was a doozy. I know that this list was very extensive and I actually kind of whittled it down from a longer list, but I don't want to overwhelm you. I feel like you should just kind of pick a few to start with. I've had a lot of great success with the indoor plants that have really big waxy leaves. I feel like the thicker the leaf, the more resilient they are and the less likely you'll kill it. Hopefully you got some really great tips on indoor plants that are perfect for low light conditions. I encourage you to visit your local nursery or your local hardware store and check the indoor garden section. That's really how I started and how I learned. I used to visit Home Depot regularly for all of my DIY projects and supplies. Before checking out, I would hightail it to the indoor garden section and kind of just look and see what they had. I was always attracted to those indoor ferns, but I realized that I needed plants that were a little bit more durable, especially if I was moving them from a window to inside the home. Some plants survived and thrived, and some plants literally died out on me. So just experiment and have fun with it. Start small, maybe start with this video and write a few down and check them out at your local nursery. Bring them home, care for them, love them. Remember that it's not necessary to put all of your plants on a watering schedule. Some plants need more water, some need less water. The only way you're going to find out and truly know is by experimenting. I hope this video offered you a little bit more inspiration on how to style these indoor plants. There are a ton of channels out there for you to do a little bit more research on the best low light indoor plants, but this video takes it one step further and shows you how to style it in your home as well. If you like this type of content and you want more fun indoor plant videos, please give this video a thumbs up. Comment below and let me know if you have any questions when it comes to styling indoor plants in your home. Definitely share this video with anyone you know who loves indoor plants as much as I do, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Click that little notification bell to be notified of new videos that we drop every Tuesday. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next week.